immediately bought 3 history books about Council Bluffs and became interested and fascinated in Council Bluffs history, and so that's kind of been with me from the start. The postcard collection honestly was an accident. I was doing research about bridges over the Missouri River and looking for various images of the bridges that used to go over between Council Bluffs and Omaha. And as part of that research, I found images that popped up, you know, a Google image type of search, and they were postcards. And guess what? eBay sells postcards like everything else. And so I started just buying postcards of the bridge that I was researching, which was the Douglas Street Bridge, also known as the Exarban Bridge, as it was named later. But then in the course of searching for postcards about that bridge, I found other postcards of other bridges in Council Bluffs, and then just other postcards of various other buildings throughout Council Bluffs, and it turned into an unstoppable, hopefully health. So these postcards go back to, I think some of them 1880s, 1890s. So it was definitely a different time, and a lot of them, in a funny way, or at least I find funny now, is that they write about writing. So they'll write a postcard and say, "I'm going to write you a letter," or "Why haven't you written me a letter?" or "Thanks for the letter that you wrote me." So, you know, in today's world, in 2022, where we're just firing texts off, or you can have video chat or whatever, these folks are separated by hundreds of miles and days of communication, you know, especially before telephones too. I think what's most interesting to me is this as a record of the many historic and substantial historic buildings that are no longer here. You know, a lot of them met their ends through fires or various other redevelopment, such as the urban renewal efforts of 1960s, 1970s. The last time I took time to count, it was over 400, so it's probably about 425 or so at this point, and it's been nice to look through and collect, and at some point in my life to be a gift back to the community when I'm done with it, or when I move on to my next collection. No, you know, that's interesting because, I see a lot of these as I flip through, and there's nothing on them. They've never been mailed or written on. I would say only about a fourth of them or a third were ever used and sent or written on with stamps. I suppose if I was a stamp collector, this would also be a good way to collect stamps. A lot of old stamps on these.